Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are new, I'm Tori. I've been a practicing witch, technically Wiccan, for over 10 years, and we are going to read scary stories. Well, not scary stories specifically, but people's real, supposedly real paranormal experiences, and then I'm going to tell you some of mine. I just was in the mood for ghost stories because it may be 85 degrees outside, but 2 days ago it hit 50 and it felt like Halloween. So we're gonna get into it. We are going to start off my videos with a tarot card from now on because I'm a tarot witch and I love it, and so I thought that would be a good way to start my videos. Oh, if it falls out, it's your card. If it falls out, it's your card. I am pulling from the Halloween Tarot. Not a sponsor, not an affiliate. I just love it. It's cute. I actually don't use it that much, but it's spooky season. So here we are. Oh my god, I dropped 5 cards. Please hold. So if you haven't watched my Tarot 101 video, check that out. I discuss how my tarot practice is based on intuition over card meetings. I do have a tarot guide that I wrote. I will link that in the description. But I just think something about the initial thought with the card, I prefer that to the actual written meaning. I think it makes it a lot more personal. I dropped 5 cards. I do chaos shuffling. So whatever the universe throws at me, that's it. And you can't fight that. So I think I'm going to do this as a spread. Okay, so we're just going to look at the cards. If you want to put how you feel when you see these cards in the comments, go for it. First, I pulled the 3 of Cups. These are really cute. I like these. Then 2 of Cups. These were fully shuffled. Page of Swords. Page of Swords, and then Queen of Swords. Adorable. And then the Ace of Wands. That one's pretty. Okay, so I know cups are emotions, swords are thoughts, and then wands are actions, which is actually very interesting because I feel like we've got like a little scenario happening here. So first initial thought with the 3 of Swords, notice they're like pouring into all the cups and then it's just pouring out at the end. My initial thought is like the emotional like give and take. There's no like giving back. Like what you're putting out isn't coming back to you. Maybe putting emotions in the wrong places. 3s, numerology is hard for me. Yeah, that's that vibe. And then 2s would be choices or paths. So maybe you have to choose where your emotions are going, like reevaluate what you're putting your time and your energy into. And then with swords, that would be thoughts. Pages tend to be very naive and excited. So maybe if you bounce off of the other cards, I would think maybe you've not realized that you're putting your energy into the wrong places. Like you're jumping all over and like scrambled thoughts a little bit too scattered. Okay, and then with the Queen of Swords, like this is like obviously very much knowledgeable, I would say, with the books, very much understanding of what you're doing. So I would say needing to really look into where your energy is going. I'm getting a lot of where you're putting your energy and your emotions. This could all be bull, by the way. Again, this resonates with me, which is why I'm kind of reading it the way I am. If it resonates with you, comment below, because I think your initial intuition is more important. And I will look at I will look at the actual card meanings, but like having to just really look at, again, more of your emotions and what they mean and where they're going. So then you've got the Ace of Wands, and that feels very much like just triumphant, like doing the, like aces would be beginnings, wands would be action. So you need to take those steps. Like you've been pouring your energy into whatever. In my instance, I feel like I put a lot of energy into everything except for myself. And maybe this is the universe telling me, like, hey, do the things. Do the things that you've been wanting to do. This card is gorgeous. And that's how you reach this point where like you're the queen of your emotions and your thoughts, and you finally, yeah, that's what I get. I don't know if you guys have noticed, I've added to my background, I got my Mothman Bigfoot sign I got from, I'm sorry I touched that. Got my Mothman and my Bigfoot sign that I got from West Virginia when I went out of town. And some of these, I had a gift card, so I got some. It's over there. Just some cute little things. This is my tarot guide. I've shared it in a lot of videos. It kind of talks through using your intuition to read tarot. I'm excited. I'm working on a workbook to go with this, so you can track your cards, and it'll have intuition exercises and everything. So keep an eye out for that. If this resonated with you, then comment below. I would love to hear about it if you want to talk about it. And yeah, that was fun. I didn't mean to do a whole spread. I've been sitting here for 15 minutes, but yeah, okay. And check out this deck. It's really cute. Some of it's in Spanish, but that's fine. You can learn a little bit of Spanish. I think that's good for people. So we are going to read paranormal stories. I am obsessed with the paranormal. I am very much into like the ghost hunting videos like on YouTube, and I've never gone and done that before, but I do have a spirit box app like on my phone, and I've got some spooky stories too. So I'm going to start off with one of my spooky stories, and then we're going to read some that I found on Reddit. Bathroom break. Okay. We're going to talk about too, if you listen to like the paranormal podcast, like Otherworld or Monsters Among Us, comment, because we should be friends. And I want to go ghost hunting really bad. Okay, my story. So my husband and I used to live in a house that we were renting. We do not live there anymore, but all kinds of crazy stuff happened there, and I fully believe this stuff. Maybe I don't trust all the videos or stories that I read, but I believe it all. And I remember we lived in this house. It was a really old house. I'm not telling you guys where, don't be creepy. It was a really old house, and I remember I was home alone, which is always how it goes because no one else is going to witness this so that I can prove it. But I was in the bedroom, and the way the house, it was such an old house that like the doors wouldn't stay open, like they'd kind of like, they were angled weird, so they would drift closed all the time. So I had a table, like an end table, pushed up against the door so that it would stay open. And I mean like a full end table with like stuff on it. And I'm in there, back to the door, of course, and I'm folding laundry, and something, no windows or doors are open. I know how drafts work. But something shoved the table like 6 inches out of the way, and then the door slammed. It was the scariest thing I've ever experienced in my life. I backed up to the corner of the room and stood there, I want to say like 10 minutes. Traumatized. I didn't have my phone. My husband wasn't home. I was traumatized. And like, I don't know, one thing I've been working on my intuition, and I'm not psychic, but I get vibes, and I just remember the overwhelming feeling of being watched for about 10 minutes, and I didn't move until it went away. So, love it. So we're gonna read some paranormal stories that people are saying are real. Again, it's the internet, but it's all in good fun for spooky season and Halloween. And I will filter in some of my other stories as we go through here. So, okay, this is from the subreddit Ghost Stories. This might sound strange, but I swear it happened. I was sitting in my apartment late at night, exhausted after work, but too wired to sleep. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a tall, shadowy figure standing near my bedroom door. My first thought was, okay, I'm just tired. This is a hallucination. That's terrifying. I rubbed my eyes, looked again, and it was still there, not moving, not doing anything, just standing. I tried to ignore it and focus on my phone, but every few minutes I'd glance back and it was exactly where I left it. My chest felt heavy, like I couldn't breathe right. That's that weird, like, being looked at heaviness that I always get. Here's the part that shook me. A friend of mine had come over earlier in the night and had fallen asleep on my couch. Around 3 a.m., she woke up and whispered, "Why is there someone in your hallway?" She had seen it too. That's when I panicked, turned on all the lights, and nothing was there. I keep telling myself it was a shared hallucination, maybe a trick of the shadows or us being half asleep, but it felt too real. I haven't been able to shake it since. Has anyone else ever experienced something like this, where you think it's just your imagination, but then someone else confirms they saw it too? Oh my God. That's actually absolutely terrifying. I actually had this happen to me. This didn't happen to me yesterday, but I had something where I thought I imagined it last night, where I was in my closet, which is in my bathroom off my bedroom, and I was looking for clothes, and I heard footsteps go up the stairs, walk around my bedroom, and then come up to the door. And I was like waiting for my husband to come into the bathroom and into the closet, and then he didn't. And then I heard it walk away, and like I heard it. And then I come out and no one's there, and I go downstairs and he's just sitting on the couch, and I'm just like, tell me you were upstairs, please. And then he wasn't. It's hard being so into ghost stuff and paranormal experiences when you live in an apartment. I did feel it in my room, and I don't have any neighbors on that side, but it's still fun. Who knows? On to the next one. I clean a hospital at night. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. How? How? That's terrifying. I don't like hospitals during the day. I actually clean for a living, but we do new construction, and it does get really scary at night when I work late, but I would die. I couldn't do this. Okay. For context, I got this job like 5-ish months ago, not long enough to deal with this. I'm in charge of cleaning all common areas, waiting rooms, hallways, office spaces, etc. of the 3-story non-inpatient hospital. I have a couple of coworkers who clean other areas, surgical centers, urgent care, pediatrics, etc. So I don't see them very often. Last month, I had just gotten to the first floor and started my route with cleaning the bathrooms. The bathrooms face a hallway with a waiting room off to the left and some office spaces to the right. I had just finished the first bathroom and was heading into the second when I noticed what looked like a young woman peeking around the corner by the office spaces. I did a double take and she wasn't there. I was genuinely confused as none of my coworkers looked similar to her. She had an uncanny valley look. I hate that. I hate it. She was in front of a completely white wall, so it's not like my brain could have seen a poster and humanized it. Either way, I kind of just ignored it and continued my route. Not even 10 minutes later, I was bending over to change a trash bag facing the wall when my shirt was completely pulled from my back. and dropped. I spun around hoping it was one of my coworkers playing a joke, but nobody was there. I was super freaked out, kind of yelled, "I didn't say you could touch me," finished my job and left. I haven't had anything even close happen to me again. No clue what it was. I've been touched before. That's what you do. So a lot of people think this stuff is scary, and it is absolutely terrifying to me. I want like a really serious paranormal encounter, but the second anything remotely spooky happens, I'm like, hey, cut that out. I didn't ask for that, didn't sign up for it. But I did have where I was in the house that we lived in, and I was standing by the TV, and my cat was next to me on the floor, and I literally felt a full hand and then a tug. I like stumbled and my cat goes running off, and it was so scary. And I literally just stood there and was like, absolutely not. You can hang here, but you cannot touch me. And it didn't touch me again. Definitely the response that you saying that is good. That's good psychic protection. Good. You gotta be firm with your boundaries. Have you guys ever been like grabbed or like physically moved? I don't see that very often. More of it is like a perception or a vibe. And I've seen things like out of the corner of my eye a lot. On to the next story. I'm an undertaker and something happened. All of these are the subreddit ghost stories. If you want to check out any of these, I'm not reading any of the comments. We're just here for the spooky vibes. Something happened, and I've always been skeptical until today. I am an undertaker, and I have been for the past 8 years. I've always been skeptical when it comes to the afterlife, especially the paranormal. But today something happened that I cannot explain. I was cleaning unclaimed ashes out of a funeral home where I work. We are moving out of the old Victorian building we operate out of into a new funeral home. For the past week, we have been making a slow transition, moving out of our current home into our new one. In our basement, we have the unclaimed ashes going back as far as the 1970s. People just like don't pick those up. That's wild. I just had my headphones in, putting the boxes into bags so we could send them to the local crematorium for them to be scattered. I must have put away hundreds of boxes of ashes without even thinking about it. I was just listening to a podcast, getting another task ticked off my to-do list. I was putting one box into the bag and felt my body and brain freeze with the word no, but I didn't hear anything. I have that happen all the time. That's your intuition. Trust that. It's hard to explain what I felt. The best I can explain is it's my own free will had gone, and I was ordered to stop what I was doing. I stopped immediately and put the box of ashes in my hand onto the table. On closer inspection, there were 2 boxes I was going to put into 2 separate bags, one small box and one normal size box. Let's just say, for privacy reasons, one box was labeled Hannah Williams. On top of Hannah Williams's ashes, there was a box labeled Baby Williams. Aw. I presume they are mother and baby, who I was about to separate into 2 separate bags, which I find quite spooky because I didn't read the labels before. I was doing a mundane task as fast as I could with my existing duties and clearing the premises. I was just trying to get things done as fast as possible, was not paying attention to the names. I just needed to get it done. So yeah, I cannot explain this for the life of me. Ooh, yeah, that's wild, actually. I don't know what all of you guys think about like the afterlife and everything, but with the ghosts and the spirits, I do think they can communicate with us, and in ways that probably happens more often than we realize because we're not in tune with it completely. That's really interesting. I've always been super fascinated with people who work in cemeteries and funeral homes, which is funny because I've always wanted to like go walk around a cemetery. Like I think they're very pretty, like gorgeous in like a macabre way. But going for like a funeral, like I absolutely am so uncomfortable normally, but I am very interested. Why am I anxious all of a sudden? Oh, I got chills. Can you see? Goosebumps. It's 85 degrees in here. very much don't feel alone in my room right now. I wonder if my husband woke up. Okay. My girlfriend received a phone call from a ghost. God, I've got like this crazy vibe. Don't touch me. Okay. Something likes the stories. Oh my gosh. Guys. Okay. My girlfriend received a call from a ghost. This happened back in October 2022, close to Halloween. My girlfriend, along with her friend, own a hair salon since the end of 2020. They usually do Instagram posts, appointments, and everything related with social media with an iPhone that they only and exclusively use for the business. For context, the Day of the Dead, Dia de Muertos, is a celebration in Mexico in which you put a stand with pictures of your relatives that passed away, along with food offerings and things they like, because it is believed that your dead relatives come in spirit to taste the things they used to like while they were alive. If you've seen the movie Coco, you might know what I'm talking about. Coco is my favorite Pixar movie. And honestly, if you haven't done any research on Dia de los Muertos, it is such an amazing and interesting celebration. And I highly recommend it. Also, if you haven't seen Coco, I love that movie. The day they put the altar at the salon, everyone went home like usual. She came home and we did our normal routine. I went to sleep, and since she always has trouble falling asleep, she continued watching some Netflix series. Somewhere around 2 to 3 in the morning, she wakes me up frantically. My first thought was that she watched some horror movie or something, but she couldn't even talk a whole sentence, and she was pointing at her phone. I hug her until she's calmed down for around 10 minutes, and then she started to say that she received a FaceTime from the phone at the salon. She said that she was watching the TV when she started to receive a FaceTime request. Since it was 3 in the morning, she thought it was very unlikely that it was her friend, but since there were times where they stayed late to do material restocking, she probably thought she was there doing that, and there was probably an emergency. When she accepted the FaceTime, she only saw the ceiling. She started to say her friend's name, but nothing came on screen. It was only the ceiling and the red light they leave on during the night. She started to have an eerie feeling and ended the FaceTime. Since they have security cameras on the business, she opened the app on her phone to see what was going on. At this point, she thinks that probably a thief has broken in. As soon as she sees the cameras, there's no one there. She puts the camera on reverse to see the exact moment at when she was called, and you can only see the phone turn on by itself and make a FaceTime to her. That's when she lost it and woke me up. She said that she can't explain the fact that the phone had a security lock that only her and her friend know the password to, and also the fact that whoever or whatever was manipulating the phone picked her contact, made a FaceTime. There's no logic in the whole process. A day after, she showed everyone at the salon what had happened, and everyone was in shock because there was no way the phone did all that by itself at 3 a.m. Never heard of someone else receiving a call from no one. This was the first and last year they made a Day of the Dead thematic for the salon, since they got goosebumps every time they remember what happened. That's insane. I've never gotten like a weird, eerie phone call. That feels very horror movie to me. I don't think I would appreciate that. I wonder if they like maybe like an old relative coming and making a phone call. That's insane. That's very scary. I've had the whole like hearing my name, especially in the old house where we would be like, me and my husband would be on opposite sides of the house, and I would hear somebody talk and I'd call back and then he wouldn't answer. And then when I go ask him, like, hey, are you talking to me? And he'd be like, no. So that's probably one of the creepier things that I've experienced. No scary phone call in the middle of the night. That's terrifying. Okay, so I'm going to tell my super scary paranormal encounter. So in the old house, I remember my office was where our dining room was. So there was the dining room, the kitchen is next to it, and then the living room. Okay. And the living room had a hallway that went to the back bedrooms. So you could like walk in a circle through all the doorways in this house downstairs. So I'm sitting in my office, and then I hear what is literally walking down the hallway and into the bathroom. And hear walking around in the bathroom, which is in that back hallway, and then it walks back to the bedroom. So in my brain, I am very much a morning person, and my husband stays up really late and then sleeps in. So I do all my stuff in the morning. And so I'm like, oh, he got up to go to the bathroom, whatever. So then I mention it to him, because then like a couple minutes later he gets up and goes to the bathroom, and I get up and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you just got up. And he says he hadn't. So that was really weird. And then I remember the next day I was on the phone with my mom, sitting at my computer, and I can see down that hallway, because it's like a big circle, in the corner of my eye. And I see my husband walk down the hallway and then into the kitchen. So there's like an archway. So he didn't come out the other side where I could see him in the kitchen. And I remember on the phone with my mom stopping and saying good morning to him, because it was like around the time he would have woken up, and he didn't answer. So then I'm talking for like a couple more minutes on the phone, and then I stop her and I'm like, wait a second. And I look and I'm just like, my husband came in the kitchen. I'm like, Kendall came in the kitchen and didn't come out the other side, and he didn't go back. So I get up and I literally am walking around the circle of my downstairs, and he's not there. And then I actually go into the bedroom and I wake him up and I'm like, did you get up? Did you, like, I saw a fully dressed version of my husband walk into my kitchen and then disappear. And he is still in PJs, knocked out, not awake at all. And he said he had not gotten up. And I was so uncomfortable after that. When I did some research, I kept seeing something about like mimics, where spirits mimic people. That was the scariest it ever got. I've heard stories that get very scary. And I ended up just doing like a whole house cleansing. I'm actually writing a book on that. So keep an eye out for that if I ever finish it. But yeah, the mimic in my house was probably the scariest thing. It's one of the reasons why we moved. I was like, no, once you start pretending that you're my husband, that's scary. I have seen a lot of like shadow figures walk like across doorways and hallways. It was always really spooky in there. It was a very old house in a historical district, where I lived, right next to the old cemetery where they used to have all kinds of hauntings. Yeah, but that was really fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. I actually created an email. I thought it would be cool, at least for right now, for spooky season, if you have any paranormal experiences or ghost stories that you would like to share. If they're like made up folklore stories, as long as you let me know, I would love to read them, and I'll make a video with a bunch of them. So I'm going to put the email in the description. It's just the digitalcovenstories at Gmail. And then I'll keep an eye out for that. And then maybe we can do another video with some spooky stuff, and I can tell some more of my ghost stories, because I'm obsessed with the paranormal experiences and everything. I haven't had, the mimic was scary, and then being grabbed was scary, but I've not had something where like multiple people saw it and it can't be explained any other way. That's what I'm like really wanting, is that crazy, like, oh, this is definitely what happened moment. But yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Subscribe if you haven't already, and stay wild, stay grounded, and stay witchy. Bye.